first, let's get you caught up on some news that happened over the week. A federal judge blocked the NCAA from enforcing its own name, image, and likeness transfer rule, and that is going to have some repercussions that are far-reaching. So the first question to ask and to answer is, why did this happen? This happened because attorneys general in Tennessee and Virginia filed a lawsuit, an injunction on part, trying to block the name, image, and likeness legislation that the NCAA was trying to enforce, which is on their books, from taking root. Now, what this basically comes down to is it means that boosters and universities can pay players and recruits for name, image, and likeness services, regardless of whether or not they are enrolled. So not to get too deep in the weeds on this, but you need to understand the context. So Tennessee was recruiting, probably going to be their starting quarterback. And in doing so, flew the dude in, right? Boosters paid for that plane. That violation NCAA rules, and NCAA was planning to investigate, if not sanction, the University of Tennessee for violating those rules. But this is where it gets interesting. Not only did Tennessee fight this, along with others, attorneys generals are getting into this, which means that elected officials know very well that riding for the local college football team is a great way to remain in office. And I find this to be fascinating because we're at this moment where pay for play has always been coming, but it is most assured with things like this. Federal judge using his platform to reinforce this, Judge Clifton Corker wrote, in part, the NCAA's prohibition likely violates federal antitrust law and harms student athletes. I find the use of student athletes here kind of interesting, charged, if you will, because the NCAA and higher education folks love to say student athlete because they don't like to say players, because players get paid. Student athletes barter in scholarship. And the idea that Judge Corker is still calling them student athletes means that they're one and the same, which is exactly how most people talk about this, right? Where you're getting into the nomenclature is when you can really start to hear the dog whistle. That is the thing that only you can hear coming into play. And this is getting to be a louder and louder discussion. I think that really this comes back to boosters can use monetary inducements to talk to prospective recruits about going to their universities, which means that you could pay somebody $50,000 to come on a visit and they don't need to commit. They can just take your money and go. Now, we've also seen this go the other way, right? With draconian contracts where some players are signing things for like six-figure advances in exchange for 10% of their lifetime earnings, which is, again, preposterous and predatory. And that is basically what the NCAA was trying to stop from happening. I think it's also interesting to point this out. We are mostly in favor of the kids getting paid, right? Most people would get there. But this has got it to a point where it used to be let the kids do some car dealership commercials, let the kids go cake for the braces that they got in exchange for, ads. Now it is, you got to put away some money like you might to buy a house so that you don't lose to Arkansas. And that's where this is getting kind of really out of control. But if you got it and you want to spend it, this is how you got to do it, right? This is a hobby for many people. And if you can afford the hobby, you can do this. I mean, I'm a car guy. At one point or another, you just stop talking about money because the money pit is exactly that, right? You want to blow a small fortune very easily, you can throw it at your football team or you can go racing. Both of those could be fun ways to lose, just like gambling in Vegas. So I think the irony here, and the thing for you to take from this decision is, A, expect more boosters to get more involved. Expect NIL collectives to really start running, sprinting after recruits in a way that they have not before. And that the NCAA is hamstrung here. Irony here is the NCAA attempted to perform functions universities hired them to perform and make them uniform law. But that accounts for only the collective and not the individual. So when you have, say, the University of Tennessee, to stick with this example, operating as an individual, saying that the NCAA is violating my rights, yeah, they are. But those are also part of what you are buying into, right? We all want to live or have a governing body that oversees us all. Everybody understands the rules. Everybody follows the rules. And because we follow the rules, we get to have this thing called a society. when you get one person or two people or several people that decide that this one law is impeding their freedoms, literally, right? Ability to make money and or spend your money as you see fit, then you got a problem. The NCAA can't do anything about this because it is fighting this sort of fight, right, in the courts and probably going to lose. But it's also representing the very universities that in some places are fighting it. So we have turned the NCAA into our favorite whipping boy, and it's not even fun for me anymore because I used to be in the minority on this when I would say the NCAA is a maid service. You pay for the NCAA to do its job, right, to clean up your mess and or to arrange your bedroom so that you can go to work and do what you got to do. And now everybody's just bagging on the NCAA because it's an easy target. And it's very easy to point at the NCAA, which is toothless, can't actually do much of anything that, we don't want it to do, and then make it into this criminal enterprise that is trying to push down the great universities of college football and its players. What needs to change is we got to get a new governing body, or we have to come around to a better way of organizing ourselves, because I'm with people when they say this is the Wild West and they don't understand what the rules are. And so there are no rules and people are operating in chaos. And that doesn't frustrate me at all. As a matter of fact, I rather like that. That's called late stage capitalism. And capitalism is a blood sport. Either you came to win or you don't need to play. But if you want to be fair, you got to come up with some new rules that everybody can agree to. And right now we can't agree to any rules. So we're letting judges do this because our congressmen do not want to get involved. Our state legislators probably want to get over involved. And our higher education people are just that. They are higher education professionals that have to make business decisions now. And as a person who has operated a small business to profitability, let me tell you something. Me having a master's in professional writing ain't going to get that done. You get what I'm saying? Me being ready to be an English professor ain't going to get that done. You need to get business people to run your business, but you also need to get business people that operate with a level of humanity that don't make it feel as if we're all just balanced out on a sheet, that we're all assets. As a matter of fact, one of the things I hate talking about with players is people talking about them as assets and not as people. If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.